This title is narrated with virtual voice, computer-generated narration for audiobooks. Maggie Matheson, The Senior Spy, by Ian Hornett. Chapter 1. Maggie pushed hard at the door to the restaurant, dragging her shopping trolley awkwardly behind her. It caught as the door pulled to, forcing her to lift and turn it to get both of them inside at the same time. This was the fifth place she had had to struggle into that day. Was it really worth all the effort? Groceries could be bought and delivered online, people kept telling her. No need to even leave the flat. Yes, Mags, she told herself, it definitely was worth it. She quite liked her magnolia lounge walls, but not so much that she wanted to spend the entire day staring at them. Another minor battle won, she took a deep breath to compose herself before pushing her glasses back firmly onto the bridge of her nose and surveying her surroundings. The scan, as it was known, was a routine ingrained in her from another time, and one that had kept her safe on many occasions. These days, there was considerably less at stake in the places she frequented, with checks for booby traps being replaced by checks for trip hazards, and signs of an escape route replaced with signs for the toilets. Scanning from left to right, her movements were slow, deliberate, and confident, like a conductor at the Albert Hall, acknowledging the musicians, section by section. More like a conductor at the Albert Hall with cataracts, she thought glumly. She was resigned to all aspects of getting old, except the decreasing functioning of her vision, her hearing, hips and knees, and memory, and the boredom, and the loneliness, and the fact that most people she knew spent all day obsessing with these things. Still, she clocked the customers one by one, starting with Betty, who was seated at her usual table in the alcove on the right of the restaurant. As always, the window nearby was open. Maggie knew that Betty didn't much like it there. It's a bit on the chilly side, she had complained to Maggie only last week. But they insist I sit here. I don't know why. It's because they think so much of you, Betty love. No one else has their own table, you know. It's even got its own air conditioning, she added, pointing to the window. You're lucky. I suppose so. They must think I'm special then. You certainly are, Betty. 1 in a million. Maggie didn't mention the real reason. Obnoxious gas was a regular byproduct of Betty's eating, and the owners had acted in response to customer complaints. That cake looks tasty, Betty, Maggie said now as she worked her way past her table. Even without her hearing aid fully turned up, Maggie could hear the delicate pop that followed Betty's cheery wave. Her eyes settled on someone she had not seen before, a middle-aged, balding man sitting in the opposite corner, wearing a dark blue business suit and large brown spectacles. He was cutting a sausage one-handed with his fork while scrolling through pages on his phone with the thumb of his other hand. There was a loud clunk against the plate on each cut, his eyes never diverting from the screen as he prodded around haphazardly for a section, before snaring it and lifting it in the direction of his mouth. Eventually, and messily, it found its target and disappeared from view. Maggie noticed ketchup on the corner of his lips. She was sorely tempted to wet her handkerchief with her own spittle and dab it on his face to clean it off. She stopped herself, deciding that tolerance towards the eccentricities of elderly ladies was unlikely to extend that far. The young woman with short dark hair sitting on her own at one of the central aisle tables wasn't a regular visitor either. During her fight with the door, Maggie had noticed her briefly glance up over her red clutch bag, before hurriedly looking away. She seemed distracted and fidgety, her eyes flicking up from the menu every now and then towards the entrance. Her boyfriend's late, Maggie decided, and she's worried about being stood up. There were 2 other people sharing a table close to the serving hatch. These 2 she did know, having struck up a close friendship.
To keep listening to this audiobook for free, click the link in the description. It will take you to a free Audible trial where you can listen to this and many other books for free for 30 days.